Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I am here on this show, and I'm here to, talk about this, bowl game here, the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, between the Texas State Bobcats and the Rice Owls. Well, it was a close game at halftime. It was 10-7. You know, close, low-scoring game, but obviously a close game. Rice scored before halftime to make it a one-score game, but then after that, Texas State dominated from there. I believe it was 41-7 at one point. It was only 10-7 at halftime, but then Texas State just ran all over Rice. Did whatever they wanted. They had 3 passing touchdowns, 2 total rushing touchdowns. They just ran the ball over and ran for like 240-something yards. So, after that, I think they outscored them at one point 10-7. It was at least like 20 or 30-something to nothing before they kicked a field goal in the fourth quarter, 41-7 on 4th and goal. So, yeah, just absolute dominance. Creighton played really bad at quarterback. He had an interception and 2 fumbles in this ball game. Texas State's defense played really well, though, but Creighton had, I believe, like, 2 or 3 turnovers. Their drives today were 3 and out. 3 and out with a loss of 9, intercepted, 3 and out with a loss of 1, punt, touchdown, 3 and out with no gain, 3 and out consisting of almost picked off, almost fumbled, and fumbled back to back. So that's where really their drives today. So just terrible game from them. Pretty pathetic game. I believe it was 27-7 at the end of the third quarter. That's where they really pulled away with this game, was the third quarter. And then they just added, and Texas State then just added on in the fourth quarter. A freaking field goal. Taking a field goal. It's 41-7, 4th and goal. Just go for it on field goal. Jesus, man. Real men would have went for it the first time. You're losing by like 60 points, it feels like. So, Rice, what was their record heading into this game? I think they were 5-7. There was a bunch of teams that declined bowl games, so that's the only reason they were in this bowl game. Probably would have been better if they weren't. They had no offense at all besides 1 touchdown possession. Other than that, their drives were like 3 and out. They either resulted in 3 and outs or turnovers. Awful. Awful team. As for Texas State, they got the bowl win. They just really dominated in the second half. First half, they scored, it was 0-0 after 1, but then they scored 10 points there in that second quarter. And then after that, they just dominated. They outscored Rice 31-10 in the second half. So I think they outscored them like 31-0 at one point after it was 10-7 at halftime. Which is crazy. But yeah, let's go over the stat sheet, and then we're going to get into some news. We're going to talk about college football news, all the latest news from the transfer portal, and we have a lot of news from the transfer portal. Texas State ends their season 7-6, a reverse 6-7. Sorry, had to do it. They scored 41 points. 0 in the first quarter, 10 in the second quarter, 17 in the third quarter, and 14 in the fourth quarter. Brad Jackson, 17-24, 173 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Lincoln Payer, 11 runs, 106 yards, 1 touchdown. Greg Burrell, 9 runs, 81 yards, 9 a carry. Brad Jackson, 14 runs, 52 yards, 3.7 a carry and a touchdown. 4 total touchdowns in this ball game for Brad Jackson. Receiving, Bo Sparks, 4 catches, 87 yards, and a touchdown. Chris Don Jr., 11 catches, 75 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Defensively, they had 3 sacks, 14 TFL, so they had 14 tackles for loss. What a game from them, man. And then Jaden Rayos had an interception, and Tyler Robles was 2 for 2 on field goals. For Rice, they end their year 5-8. They scored 10 points. They had 0 in the first quarter, 7 in the second quarter, 0 in the third quarter, and 3 in the fourth quarter. They played like 3 quarterbacks in this game. Patrick Creighton Jr., 4 for 9, 70 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Lucas Shearhorn, 6 of 9, 16 yards. How is that possible? Quentin Jackson, 3 for 3, 8 yards. Come on, just a disaster at quarterback today. Quentin Jackson, 16 runs, 78 yards, 4.9 a carry. Aaron Turner, 6 runs, 29 yards. Tom Byers, 5 runs, 26 yards. But Texas State ran for 241 total yards rushing, 5.9 a carry, 2 touchdowns on 41 carries. Rice, 44 carries, only 101 yards, 2.3 carry. Peyton Matthews, 1 catch, 54 yards. Aaron Turner, 10 catches, 24 yards, and a touchdown. They had 5 fumbles, lost 2 of them. Defensively, they have 3 sacks, 9 TFLs. And they knocked out Gota 1 for 1 on field goals. So let's go over the team stats, and then we'll move on here. So let's go over the team stats here for Texas State. 24 first downs, 2 of 11 on third down, 2 of 3 on fourth down, 436 total yards, 7 yards of pass, 241 rushing yards on 41 attempts, 5.9 a carry, 9 plays for 87 yards, 1 turnover with a 1 fumble, no interceptions, 28 minutes time of possession. For Rice, they had 12 first downs, 3 of 17 on third down, 3 of 5 on fourth down, 195 total yards, 4 yards of pass, 101 rushing yards on 44 attempts, 2.3 a carry, 5 penalties for 57 yards, 3 turnovers, 2 fumbles, 1 interception, and 30 minutes of time of possession. But Texas State gets the 41-10 win. Congratulations to them for winning the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl 41-10. Now let's move on to the college football news. So let's start here. Texas, they are working bringing Auburn transfer wide receiver Cam Coleman on a visit. He's the #1 player in the on-3 transfer portal rankings. Transfer from Auburn. We'll see if he goes to Texas, but they're working to bring him in on a visit. Tennessee kicker Max Gilbert plans to enter the NCAA transfer portal. Even kickers are entering the portal. Ole Miss quarterback Austin Simmons plans to enter the NCAA transfer portal. Why? But Missouri's the only school to watch in this recruitment, sources tell On3 Sports. So, kind of an update here on Cam Coleman following his Texas visit. Texas A&M is working to get Cam Coleman on campus for a visit this weekend. So both Texas and Texas A&M are trying to work on visits for Cam Coleman. Alabama athlete Jalen McQuabwey, has entered the transfer portal. I think we said last night, I talked about Brendan Sorsby entered the portal. Cincinnati transfer QB Brendan Sorsby has lined up visits to Texas Tech and LSU. This feels like a Texas Tech Red Raider. Sam Leavitt, he entered the transfer portal with a, quote, do not contact tag. And Kentucky's entered the mix for star Arizona State transfer QB Sam Leavitt. He entered with a do not contact tag this morning. If they can get Sam Leavitt, though, I really feel good about next year with Kentucky football with Will Stein. Give me Sam Leavitt. Kentucky's got some pretty good receivers recruited. I'm sure they're going to get some from the transfer portal. Give me Will Stein. And people are like, oh, he could be leaving for Kentucky. Look, Indiana was in the gutter a few years ago. I'm not saying Kentucky would be a national title contender instantly, but you got to try to improve. When people are like, oh, there's no chance. What do you mean there's no chance? This is no day and age. Everybody's got a chance. Look what Indiana's done in 2 years. Look what Vanderbilt did this year to get the head out of the gutter. Never know, man. Hopefully Kentucky does get Sam Leavitt. Over 2,000 college football players have entered the transfer portal in less than 12 hours. Oh, it's so crazy. Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech are the top 2 schools to watch from Missouri transfer QB Bo Pribula. There's a prediction, Cutter Bowley, no quarterback prediction from on 3 that he will be he will go to Arizona State. Hey, let's make a trade then. I'll take Sam Leavitt. Pete Nakos has logged an expert prediction for Florida to land Georgia Tech transfer QB Aaron Philo. That was from On 3 Sports from Hayes Fawcett. Auburn transfer receiver Malcolm Simmons is set to visit Kentucky, Arkansas, and Texas A&M. He's number 8 receiver in the On 3 portal rankings. Come play for Will Stein, buddy. USC transfer defensive lineman Devin Tompkins tells On 3 there's 5 schools that standing out to him as a transfer destination: Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, Auburn, and Ohio State. Adam Trick, Miami of Ohio transfer edge, tells there's 4 schools standing to him as transfer destinations: Texas Tech, Florida, Wisconsin, and Tennessee. Alabama receiver Jalen Hales entering the transfer portal. Top 40 recruit in the 2023 On 3 rankings. Virginia receiver Trail Harris is entering the transfer portal. Clemson safety Clell Barnes has locked in visits to Georgia and Ole Miss. Virginia Tech standout linebacker Cole Woodson has locked in a visit to Alabama on January 4th. Michigan State star transfer receiver Nick Marsh has locked in visits to Indiana and Notre Dame. May had one more visit. Iowa State standout transfer corner John Tess Williams has locked in 3 visits. USC, Notre Dame, and Florida. Penn State quarterback Jackson Smollett plans to enter the transfer portal. Has 3 years of eligibility. Georgia running back Roger Robinson II is entering the transfer portal. And then Georgia defensive lineman Jordan Thomas is entering the transfer portal. Some Georgia players there. Virginia defensive lineman Hunter Osborne is entering the transfer portal. USF running back Nakai Davenport is entering the transfer portal. Arkansas transfer defensive lineman Ian Geffrard is set to visit the following schools: Kentucky, SMU, Auburn, and Texas. He's ranked as the number 4 D lineman in the On 3 portal rankings. Kentucky transfer linebacker Taven Wallace will visit Kentucky this weekend. His older brother Trevin played at Kentucky before getting drafted by the Panthers. So there's some notable news here. UNLV running back Jet Thomas is returning for his senior year at UNLV. Huge notable news for QB portal movement today was C.J. Bailey will return to NC State for 2026. So huge news there for NC State. Washington quarterback Damon Williams has agreed to a no deal to return to the Huskies for 2026. He'll be one of the sport's top quarterbacks next season. He accounted for 32 touchdowns last year through the air and ground. So, some quarterbacks are returning. Jake Indries, Texas tight ends, entering the NFL draft. Avery Johnson announces his return to Kansas State. C.J. Baxter, former Texas 5-star running back, his first visit will be to Kentucky. Man, Kentucky, who we're heating up in that transfer portal. Man, I think that's really it probably for the transfer portal updates for college football. Really all the college football news here for now, most likely. But yeah, that's really it for this. Talked about this game and all the latest news of the transfer portal. So, yeah, leave a like, comment, subscribe for more. Peace. It's going to be a busy day, man. My first of 8 videos for today. So, yeah, peace.